Greetings. Welcome to Speak Nerd and Enter.
Hey folks, how's it going? Welcome to Speak Nerd and Enter. I've been asked to do the intro. We're going to talk about, what are we talking about? Terminal
There you
length?
go. See, that was wonderful. Very professional.
So good.
That was excellent.
Yeah.
I'm sure what Kelly was thinking of, Mark, was, did you get a chance to see any of those shows we were talking about before? There's of course, the finale of Miss Marvel. There's also The Old Man and The Terminal List. Okay.
Yeah. Unlike Kelly, I did my homework and watched all of those.
See, you're amazing.
I watched
Amazing.
Criminal Minds.
It's so amazing.
Criminal Minds. I can go outside and see that.
He's watching Family Feud reruns from the late 80s.
Baskets. He's watching that. Great show, by the way.
Who's the boss?
Mark, what did you think?
All right, so let's start with Ms. Marvel, right? Because that's I think I like the series overall. I love the aspect of this person discovers they got some powers and they're excited about it, and they're, it's not the reluctant hero. It's oh man, this is going to be so cool and so fun. So I'm digging that, like the actress, I like the setup, etc. I think it got worse as the season went on. So the what did they call the bad guys? I keep calling them Internals in my the hidden or the
no now that you've said that, you're screwing me up. It's right, you can't see them. The
unseen.
Well, yeah, but they're the I don't know. I can't
First
remember.
word sounds like
covert or something like that.
Okay, so whoever those guys are, like they set them up as like, oh, this is kind of cool. It looks like bad guys, and they show up and they're ready to like murder everyone. And then like in the very next episode, Mom like sacrifices herself and gives her powers to her son. Like that just didn't feel like it took a hard left turn and it didn't make sense to me. So I was like, okay. So now we need new bad guys, and now it's of course Damage Control is after them. And the final episode, it was fun and I enjoyed it. So I don't want to be overly critical, but it was very safe. They were like, you can tell that they kind of wrote themselves into a corner, or they wanted it in such a way that they could still use Damage Control in other projects.
Yeah.
And so this woman like goes rogue. Her boss calls her up and is like, "Don't, just go away. Don't mess with them and don't do anything." And she's like, "No, I'm gonna get them, but nobody use any real guns or anything. It's all gonna be non-lethal." And so it felt a little bit Scooby-Doo almost, like we're running around setting traps in the school. And so like I'm like, okay, it's a kid show on Disney. I'm like, I could deal with it, but it was a little campy and a little silly for me. And then at the end, they're actually shooting pistols and M4s and MP5s at him, and she's throwing up her shields. And I'm like, are these supposed to be like non-lethal machine guns that they're shooting at these two teenagers in front of a crowd? I mean, imagine when that video gets out. What kind of uproar from the public would there be? And so it was a little mishandled, I think, but overall, I like the show. I like the character and the actor and her powers. Like, I'm digging it. Yeah. I just felt it got a little wah at the end. You know what I mean?
I felt very much the same way as you did when they were going through. See, I loved the first episode was great. Second episode was really good. They were doing a lot of the family stuff. And I really dug that. And her just being, a teenage girl and going through life and the powers and stuff. And it felt like they were trying to compress way too much story into those episodes.
I think it started to take a turn when they went to Pakistan.
Yeah.
And again, there were aspects of the trip to Pakistan that I liked.
Well, see, that's the thing. I
liked it, but there were other parts. Right. But it's like all of a sudden, we're in Pakistan. And I'm like, I don't know about you, but if I got a call from my relative in Scotland or something, it would not be easy for me to pack up my whole family and go to Scotland like tomorrow. Yeah. You know what I mean? Imagine going to like Pakistan or whatever. So they never really explained how easy it was for this working class family in New Jersey. And I don't know what the parents do for a living. I don't know if they even talked about it. Maybe they're well off enough that they were like, let's go to Pakistan. And but there was no real setup to like, oh, look, we're in Pakistan all of a sudden. And I was like, okay, well, they have family there. And it was cool. But it was one of those things that I was like, huh, okay, fine. and they're in Pakistan. We got to meet the dudes with the red face mask and everything, and learn a little bit more about her powers. So like that was pretty good. And then we really, really went heavy into the British history of the partition, which again was fine because I think most people don't know about that. And so I can see this is one of those areas where we're trying to tell this story, and that is a very integral part of anybody from Pakistan. You know what I mean? Because it involves the creation of that country, and so that wasn't necessarily bad. It felt maybe a little shoehorned in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know, but not
compressed. It felt
not in a
compressed.
terrible way, but maybe not not handled as deftly as it needed to be. You know what I mean? Like I can't even put my finger on this was where it went off the rails.
Well, it felt very much like a Nickelodeon show, you know,
especially that last episode. Yeah,
it did, and I wanted more. The beginning part was like, okay, you're getting this kind of expansive, more slower paced. And when I say slower paced, I don't mean no action or anything. I mean slower paced as far as getting you to know the character, know their life, and you know that kind of thing, where you just get familiar with them. And you know, it was like it became very compressed the more and more and more it went on. Yeah. So that suddenly they're throwing people at you who you either don't know, don't care about, never had time to find out about or anything. To get to this end point that didn't make a lot of sense. It was like, it felt like a Nickelodeon show at the end, like I said, where you're writing it suddenly. In the beginning, it was like, okay, teenager, young adult can get into this and that kind of thing too. The end one, you got foam coming down the stairs on the officers, you know, from science lab and all that. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, when did this
fully automatic softball throwers and
and this is supposed to be a professional, you know, dealing with alien technology agency and professional and all that.
Right, which is why I say it got a little campy kind of quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like,
and and kind of like what Kelly was saying, this is not to say I didn't like the show, not at all. I liked the show. What I wanted was a little more, what would be a good word, respect for the character that you gave towards the beginning. And the development
or the overall property that you find yourself in the middle of, like you're a Marvel Studios, like you're in the sandbox, you know what I mean, of all these other Marvel movies. And again, like some of the characterization, like we have her best friend, and we have a bit of this love triangle thing where she likes the Pakistani guy, and he clearly likes her, and he gets a little jealous and upset when he catches them almost kissing, or he catches them going on their driving lessons or whatever. And that's not really resolved. He's like, I'm going to MIT, give me a call, or you know, Caltech, I think that's where he's going. So he's going all the way across the country. And it was like, that wasn't, you know, we didn't get enough tension for it to be a real like story point. It was very like way down at the bottom of it.
Even the partition thing, that got what, an episode, maybe two.
Episode and a half, I'd say.
About that, you know, I wanted to have more of that too. I like the lady who played her grandmother.
Her great grandmother, I think it was.
Whichever it was. She's actually a very famous actress in Pakistan, and very accomplished. And I was really looking.
Yeah, stop coughing. That's going to ruin the audio. Don't ever do that again.
I was looking forward to seeing more from her. Yeah. And more of her story, background, things like that. And I felt kind of, I don't know, disappointed I didn't get to see more of her character and some of it. Because when they got to Pakistan, at first I was like, man, why'd they leave? Because the house they had was amazing, and, you know, all of that and everything. So I was glad they addressed that, you know, the friction between the mom and the grandmother and all that stuff. I'm glad they addressed that, but I wanted more. I wanted more of that stuff too. And it felt like they just started throwing a lot of wushu using jinn at them towards the end. And then the whole thing with the damage control thing was that just, I don't know.
Yeah, that was probably one of the weakest things to bring in. Yeah, because it wasn't like damage control. It was damage control gone rogue.
Yeah.
And literally acting like Keystone Cops. And then she gets fired for being terrible.
It reminded me of Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, where at the end all the New Yorkers show up and start throwing, rocks and stuff at the Green Goblin. What are you doing? Leave him alone. New Yorkers stand together, all that crap.
Mm.
And which, by the way, they don't. but
They
but
would for Spider-Man.
for Spider-Man, yeah. But for the Miss Marvel thing, it felt like kind of a. It was kind of like that again, but with Green Goblin being this, ridiculously incompetent uh, and
Arm
blatantly
of damage
racist arm
control.
of
Yeah.
yeah, and like you said, in front of a large crowd, you're going to sit there unloading your M4s on them.
On two
That's
teenagers.
yeah,
Right? I
that's
mean,
I don't
because
see
the kid
that.
they were after, the guy who got his mom's powers, had he killed anybody? Had he, I know they were
I don't
after
think
him,
so.
but I don't think he'd like
Yeah,
hurt
yeah, I don't
anybody or
think
killed
so.
anyone. Like this didn't feel like that kind of series where, like there
No.
was some mayhem, but I didn't get the feeling like a bunch of people got killed.
His
So
mother
like,
killed the dude in Pakistan. Um, and they had the one lady who died when they opened up the thing, and then she was going to go through, and then figured it's not going to
mhm,
work, so she threw herself or made her powers or herself maybe go to her son or whatever
right.
that was. But I think that was about it.
Yeah, I mean, unless I'm wrong, but this wasn't a thing where, oh my God, this kid, his powers went off because he did blow up the
Right,
convenience store. You know what I'm saying? But
right,
they never said
right.
like 3 people were killed in an explosion, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? So, like them being after him, it's not like, oh, we're after this person who murdered a bunch of innocent people, which
Yeah,
would justify that kind of response. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
and
yeah.
again, it just felt very like maybe mishandled overall
Absolutely.
toward the end of the series.
Can you imagine the scandal from all the video and everything that would be out there for what they had done? I
Right.
mean,
And I did like the fact that they brought in, like kind of all the people to come out with their phones, and that was an aspect. And the one girl who got saved at AdventureCon, like, knew it was her. And they were like, well,
yeah,
why do you tell anybody? He goes, well, it's up to her when she tells people, even though I know I'm going to keep that kind of secret. So there was some
yeah,
cool characterization that they pulled out of these otherwise forgettable characters. You know what I mean? And so like
yeah,
they did some things right that I actually liked. I actually liked it when the three of them are like shooting all the softballs and like, yeah, this is gonna work. And then boom, 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 they're all like laid out on the ground because they did get surrounded by but I noticed none of them got beat with billy clubs or kicked in the kidney or anything like that.
yeah,
Like I'm pretty sure how that would have went down
yeah.
in real life.
Well, I mean, look,
Kelly can attest to that.
yes, I can.
Yes, he can. Right.
Yes, I can. Story for another time. Look, I haven't seen it, but what it sounds like from the two of you talking is that the director or the people actually progressing the story were controlled more by suits and budgets than they were by anything else, right?
Well, I think this was one of those series, and I may be wrong, where they had different directors at different points or something. So I don't know if it was like maybe with Boba Fett, where it's just a different
Right, but the
tone depending on
directors
who was
don't
doing it.
write the script. Like the
No, I
script
get
says,
it.
here's what's going to happen. So like how you direct it, like a director's not like, nah, let's not have that happen. Let's do this and change. You
No,
know
the
what I mean?
director's not.
Like
Yeah, but
somebody wrote these scripts and
sure. I mean,
said,
the
this is where
director's
we're
not
going
the
to go.
one, right? The director's not the one writing the script, right? I mean, you have other people doing that, but the director's responsible for shooting the overall story, right? They're telling
Mhm.
they're the ones depicting it in film format. And so they should have a lot of control. But I mean, I'm thinking of other films that I'm aware of where there was just a major pressure from said studio or suits to say, well, why does it have to be that? Why does this person have to be that bad?
Yeah.
What,
Hmm.
we can't present this thing in a negative light because we want to actually appease this group for whatever reason. And so they have their tick box, right? And so they'll come in and tell the director, you know, cut 20%. Or, you
Yeah,
can't shoot it
this
that way,
didn't
shoot
feel
this
like
other
that
way.
to me though.
Yeah,
Like,
it
and I know
didn't.
you haven't seen it, so I'm not trying to disagree with you for
Yeah.
the sake of it. It didn't feel like that to me. It felt like almost like the writers were like, okay, we got rid of these, unseen whatever I'm going to call them the Eternals because that's what they feel.
Clandestine was that
Clandestine.
it?
Okay, so the
That's
clandestine, yes. So the clandestine are all get killed or they're not the villains anymore. Now it's damage control,
Sure.
but it's not damage control. It's literally this woman going rogue with her unit of damage control guys. She's literally told to stand down and she ignores her orders and is like, no, we're going to get these kids for whatever reason. Like
we're
that
gonna get
whole
these
thing just
kids.
we're going to get and not have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you kids. That felt more like somebody was like, well, we might need damage control for this next series and we don't want to make them like incompetent or evil. So this let them be the bad guys without being the bad guys. You know what I mean?
By making them incompetent and evil. That the
No,
things
just
they
the rogue unit of incompetent, evil, damage control bad
Man,
guys.
but that's the thing. It's too far afield for me to
It
buy
is,
that.
yeah,
You know,
right.
I can't. I
Yeah, it was
can't
so
accept
campily
that
done.
now.
It was right. I'm with you.
If
Like
that
it didn't
happened
make
in
sense.
real life, I mean, people would have been going to jail and lost their jobs. The politicians would have been resigning.
She
There would have
did
been
get
all kinds of
fired.
crap. Well, but I mean, on a large scale, you know
Right,
what I
right.
mean
Yeah,
with
yeah,
that.
yeah.
This just did not feel like the rest of the show. And that's the
Yeah.
thing. I love the actress, like you said,
Yeah.
the one who's playing Kamal Khan and Kamran and her friend and the girl who ran for the
The
board of the
board of the mosque or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
whole and the mother, the father. I loved all those characters.
Right, yeah.
I wanted more of
The older
them.
brother, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like
Yeah, the interaction they had and all of that. The older brother with his whole thing coming up to the coffee shop and, finding her with Kamran and all that. Love that stuff. And the stuff with her great grandmother, or grandmother, excuse me, her grandmother and all of that. Just so much of that I wanted more of. And
yeah.
hopefully with the second season, they'll do that. More Scott Pilgrim and less Nickelodeon.
Yeah, agreed. I agree. And how about that stinger at the end, huh? I was digging that.
I don't know what that meant, but
Well,
okay.
she hadn't picked a name. She was going by like Nightlight or something because that's what
Yeah.
people were calling her because she was
Well,
doing
but I thought her. Oh, you mean with her dad?
like
I thought you meant the.
she hadn't chosen the name Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, I
Like
thought you meant.
she wasn't going to be Ms. Marvel. She wouldn't like, well, I mean, how presumptuous would it be for you at 15, 16 years old to get some powers and be like, you know what? I'm like, Captain America Jr. Like Captain America has this respect and Ms.
Yeah.
Marvel or Captain Marvel has this respect.
Well, that
And so
was my nickname in high school.
it
Miss
was,
Marvel. So
but you know what I'm saying? Like, I like that she didn't be like, I love Captain Marvel, and it's she's got the posters on her walls in her bedroom and stuff like that. And for her to say that would be a little presumptuous or a little like full of ego. And
yeah.
so I think them like spatially switching places. So in the stinger, Kelly, no spoilers, like her
Cover yours, Kelly.
her wristband like glows and she gets teleported or something somewhere else. And in her place, we see Carol Danvers, like Captain Marvel's like standing in her bedroom, like, what happened? And so presumably they change places and she ends up out in space somewhere or whatever.
That does
probably
actually
dying
go
to death
back
in the vacuum of space. So maybe there
could
isn't
be.
going to be a second
Well,
season.
but that does go to my observation though. Remember when they showed the bit inside that old temple thing where they had the symbols of the 10 rings on the ground and they found the hand that had. Remember, I said the hand looked blue.
Yep.
So it could be Kree. Maybe it is Kree related or something, or they're doing something funky with the quantum bands or something like that. Could be.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to another season because I love the actors and who are in
and
that.
I like the costume she ended up with too. Like by the end of the series, I thought it was a good translation from the comics to a real life. Like this is what that costume would look like. So
Helena, she was still wearing the sneakers. She thought that was cool.
Right. Yeah.
Kelly, you should watch that, man. I'd love to see what your daughters say about it too. I don't know if they're into that sort of thing, but I'd love to.
One of them will be, the other one's not.
Yeah, my wife will absolutely not watch Obi-Wan because she's heard us talk about it on the podcast. I'm like, we should watch this together. I want to see what you think. She's like, no, I'm good.
See, that's why I'm afraid to tell people what I think about movies and stuff much of the time because I don't want to ruin it for them if they like that stuff.
I appreciate somebody saving me time.
Like I said, there are people I trust with movie reviews. You know what I mean? Like some of them are the mainstream. And again, with movie reviews, there's going to be the paid shills that love everything. Oh, it's terrific. It's fantastic. Go see it. And you can ignore all of those. And there's a lot of people that hate everything. You know what I mean? Especially on YouTube, right? You go watch some of these reviewer guys and gals or whatever. And they hate everything. You know what I mean? There are movies I've liked that maybe I saw one of these reviews and I'm like, oh man, I hope this is not going to be very good. And I'll see it and I'm like, oh, I enjoyed that. Like I understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
But like negative kind of sells. Negative gets views and clicks and likes and all that, and it's really easy to come back and crap all over whatever.
Well, the K-Man reviews are going to sell like hotcakes then.
Like hotcakes. That's right. But there's some people that I'll look at their reviews and I trust them and I go, okay, this person, they haven't done me wrong. You know what I'm saying? I trust them and I believe. And K-Man is one of them, unfortunately. So he turned me away. He's turned me away from a lot of movies. So. Unfortunately, he's not very prolific. His K-Man reviews don't come out on the regular.
Mark, did you see the Terminal List?
I did. Finally finished that up.
Okay. Did you, as you were watching, do you remember when we were talking about that? This was off camera, but do you remember when we were talking about that? I said I was really interested to see when you saw that. You saw all of it, right? The whole thing.
Whole thing.
Okay. Do you know why I wanted you to see that, to see if you knew what I would have said? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so. I think it was the last name on the list is what you're referring to, right?
Yes. Yeah. What's my
rule? Sean has a rule like, okay, we have the inciting incident, something bad happens, there are heroes in trouble, and the first person they go to for help or the first person that offers assistance, and I'll use The Fugitive with Harrison Ford as a great example. He's like, oh no, I've escaped. They were putting me in jail for killing my wife in the train crash, and he gets away. And who's the first guy he calls? His old partner, or he sees him on the street or something like. And the guy's like, "Oh, Richard, here, let me give you some money. Let me do." And that guy's very helpful, and he tells straight up the cops. Even if I know where he was, I wouldn't tell you. And you're all like, "Yeah, this guy's like he's his friend." And then by the end of the movie, you're like, "Oh no, he's the bad guy." And that is a trope. that is so oftenly used, you know what I mean? And so, like, again, I would say they went out of their way with this guy, and I'm drawing a blank on his character's name. Like he was involved, like he went on extra legal missions with this guy and was murdering people, which is why I was like, oh, okay, like clearly this guy can't be the bad guy because he's helping him. I was well aware of the trope, and I'm like, how's he gonna be the bad guy? Like he's helping, you know what I mean? He's doing the thing. And I was pleasantly unsurprised when like it finally came out. He's on the boat, and I was like, okay. I didn't think that was particularly well done. His motivation didn't make any sense to me, and I was like, what? Come on. But like I said, there was things about that show that I really liked. Like I love that ex-military guy who had the tattoos, who's running this big company. He never felt to me like he actually would belong in a boardroom. Well, I know, but he came off like he was this big, high speed, low drag guy, and he's surrounded by all these military contractors and this, that, and the other. And I never bought him as a high-powered CEO guy. You know what I mean? But anyway, I really enjoyed that. They murdered him in full view of the public. Like he just walks up on the steps and he's like, no, please don't. Bam, bam, bam. And it's just like they went there. Whereas a lot of, I think, shows and movies and stuff like wouldn't go there. This main character was relentless. If you're on the list, you're gonna get it. And even though it didn't go wrong and he had to go like guns hot and run up there and do it himself rather than let the car bomb get him or whatever. Like I enjoyed that. So there were some things that was like, oh, okay, I see where they're going with this. And he was ruthless and vicious enough in the various scenes. Like that one guy, he took an axe to him and whatnot, just to make sure we got the point home. And he's like, no, we're not going to do this from a long way away. He has to know why he's no longer going to be with us, kind of thing. So like, I appreciated that. So I did. I enjoyed it overall, but that one did kind of take me out of it. Like, oh, okay.
I pictured Mark sitting there on the couch watching that. And you're like, oh, Sean's right.
I know. No, I was thinking about you when I was like, oh yeah, that's what Sean's talking about. Mm-hmm.
But it holds true, man.
See, this is why I don't help anybody. They come to me for help. I'm like, can't help you.
Then I know I don't can trust Mark.
Then you can trust me.
Sean won't be coming to kill me.
Right.
But I loved all the things that you did. I love the fact that the technical side of it, the tactical side of it, and all that was given so much more attention. It wasn't. It wasn't your typical Hollywood fare that way. Like you said, they went there, and you would think, as a matter of fact, that would be what I would want because there's more cost. And I did want that. The ending part was the one big bummer for me. I was, oh, come on, no.
Yeah.
Helena
Come
asked me a
on.
number of times through there. She was like, "Are you sure he's, still the bad guy? I mean, because he's doing like you. It's like because he's doing all this, he's doing this. You sure And it's like, yeah, I'm sure. Wait,
Sure. Wait. Yep.
And but this, this was written by a guy who was a Navy SEAL.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess an editor or something, or writer for Guns and Ammo or something was his co-writer, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense that's who did it because the story itself, okay, I thought was really good. Like you said, the brutality, they went
with this. Yeah.
So they went there with this and the brutality and all of that. I loved that stuff. Loved all of that. The story itself, though, it felt... you remember you mentioned the Navy SEAL movie where they had Navy SEALs playing the actors.
Active
Right. So a lot of that was cool. But the acting was not like it was an actual actor, right?
Right.
They didn't have the skills of Team America,
Right. What we need is an actor.
That's right. Where acting is going to save the world. But this one felt like the opposite of that, where you could tell it was written by a guy who was, not a writer, because the motivation the way they got to his motivation, which is someone killed my family,
and they've got to pay.
Right, which is a trope in and of itself. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll go with that. John Wick and all that stuff. Sure, I'm on board for that. Kill my family. There we go. We got something to do.
Yeah,
right?
Kill the dog too.
That's right. So all of that's fine, but how they got there felt very contrived.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. I really enjoyed the first episode or two where you weren't sure if this was something in this guy's head or it wasn't. And when you really figured out that it wasn't, was when he gets attacked getting an MRI. Like, it's not a figment of your imagination if dudes show up and are actually trying to kill you. But up until that point, to me, it was like, oh, is this in his head? Is he getting his timeline wrong? Because they got recordings of no, it was the interpreter that set off the bomb versus one of his teammates or the tripwire or whatever. And so, like, I kind of enjoyed that up until and then you're like, no, there's something really going on here. So, like, that kind of weaving of the story really engaged me. I enjoyed that a lot. And then at the end, him having the wacky headaches and all that. Like, I get it, he's got a brain tumor or whatever, but it felt, I didn't need that. And the reason behind it, I would have much preferred just leave it a mystery. Don't even give us resolution on that. Who knows? Like in Total Recall. By the end of it, you're not sure if any of this stuff actually happened or anything. Didn't really matter. And matter of fact, that was part of the coolness of it because you didn't know, right? Yeah.
Man, leave that stuff unresolved. The moment you take the monster and put him in the light, it's not nearly as scary as it was when it was unknown, right? And I think they fell into that whole, well, how are we going to justify this? Let's do the government's testing on them and giving them, brain cancer and all that stuff. I don't need all that to get to the point where you got the cool story. Just, kill the family, leave it nebulous, and then let's get off to the races with a hatchet.
No, right? I disagree with that because he's trying to find out who killed his family and why. Or
I know,
who killed his whole team and why. You know what I mean? He's like,
but you don't have to resolve the why. You can leave that unknown. You can leave it nebulous.
American audiences want everything tied up with a bow. We need to know the happily ever after and the who.
Then why was Total Recall so good?
It wasn't.
Because that wasn't for it wasn't. Because that was not for American audiences. That was for Mars
Total Recall was awesome because it embraced its campiness and it never gave you a complete resolution.
No, it was good because Michael Ironside was in it.
Well, that's the sign that it's a good movie.
Yeah. It was good because I didn't have to pay for it.
Didn't have Michael Ironside, which is why it failed.
Starship Troopers, RoboCop, you know, all that stuff. Those are great because they had, well, RoboCop
Starship
didn't have
Troopers
Michael
is
Ironside,
not
but
great. I'm sorry, I disagree with you there. That movie gets 1 K-Man out of 5.
let's not get off topic and
That's
a
right.
topic where you're wrong.
That's right. Yeah,
So,
Kelly, you shut your damn mouth.
yes. So on this one, I felt like I was watching a mixture between an old 80s movie like Commando or something, mixed with a more modern, like John Wick kind of thing. And so you ended up with this melange of really cool technical stuff, and I love that. Love that
Yeah.
stuff, and I love Chris Pratt as an
Yeah.
actor and him doing his stuff. I thought that was great, and I love seeing him and his buddy out there doing their thing, the tactical stuff, and doing the whole 3-gun bit and all that. That was
Yeah.
great. All of that was awesome. But like you said, the villain guy, didn't he come across like he was from Lone Wolf McQuade or something like that? You know,
Yeah, he was a very campy, over the
Yeah.
top villain. Yeah. I
the
wasn't
shoot
really-
house thing. If you ever do that again, you're going to need a new job and all this stuff. And, okay, come on. Goes into the business world where he's just as, you know, tough and mean as he is in the tactical world and all that. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It came across like,
Yeah, and
just
I
really-
will say that, and again, I can see why Hollywood did this, or you know, whoever made the movie. It's like, okay, this guy has gone rogue, and he's a Navy SEAL that's gone rogue and is murdering people. And yet the FBI is like, no, he might have a point. Maybe we should look into why he's doing this. You know what I mean? Like Chris Pratt was always the good guy, even when he was doing bad things, right? Because he was doing them to bad people. But that includes murdering a CEO, setting off a car bomb, and walking up and shooting the guy on the streets of, I think, San Francisco is where they were.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, if you do that, you
With
are
crowds.
not like I don't think anyone in law enforcement is going to be like, wait a second, we should no. They're gonna catch you and arrest you or whatever. Like they're gonna come after you. Like, we'll sort that out later. You know what I mean? Like that is not priority number one.
Headquarters. Wait a minute. This guy's got passion. Something's wrong. That's not
HR
right.
guy's like, I've worked with him. Something's wrong. And we're like, you stow that, Johnson. Yeah.
He wouldn't endanger all those innocent people.
You're on the bench because we don't think you'll pull the trigger. But again, they went out of their way to make him the good guy.
Yeah.
Even to the, I've got to save this law enforcement officer I stuck under a mountain because I caused an avalanche or whatever, okay, like I get it. I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I don't think you got to strain a lot of credulity. You got to really like incredulity. That's the yeah. It just didn't really fly.
5-year-old Mark came out there for a moment.
Words are hard.
I felt
smart.
I felt like if he had seen Rambo, maybe then First Blood, not the second one. If he'd have seen First Blood, maybe he'd have been given a better idea as to how to handle the, gone rogue sort of thing and the cost of it and what would have happened, But I don't know. It didn't feel like that was there. Now, I enjoyed it overall, but man, those two things just kind of bummed me out. I would have loved at the end, this is the thing I told Helena, if you want to have the friend be the bad guy, okay, you want to go that trope, okay. But then how about this? How about instead of him killing him, how about him at the end saying, you know what? I know you didn't want my wife and kid to die. I know you didn't. And I'm not going to kill you. That's enough of torment for you to have to live with is
to know that I know kind of thing.
Yeah. And so I'm not going to do that for you, and you leave the opportunity for that character to be there in the future. For you to use that again, because apparently this is a series. He's like a
right, and I also found it really convenient that this, and I liked the scene where he ended up saving the pilot chick, right? You know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and her down chopper, and they come in and like disobey orders, and they're gonna go save her, and she owes him one, and like I liked your character, but it's really convenient to have like a pilot who owes you one, who's gonna do all that, and like. This ranch in South America with its own tactical unit that you can call upon to I was like, man, I wish I had one of those. That'd be really cool to have all. It seemed like he had a large infrastructure.
Yeah, a convenient network in place.
Right, which again, if you're like a Navy SEAL and you're working with all these guys, like I get it. It's not outside the realm of possibility that you could, call in some favors and do some things. But at some point, Sean, if you called me and was like, we're going to go, murder Bill Gates
Yeah.
on the front steps of Microsoft, I'd be like, you know what, Sean, I'm in. Let's go do this.
Murder Bill Gates. Oh, that's awful. Yeah.
For the record, we are not going to murder Bill
No,
Gates.
no.
So I don't know if we have
The
to cut that out or if
absurdness.
YouTube's not going to like it or.
The absurdness of that thought is what's funny. That's something. But now conversely, okay, now that we've talked about that, and I would still give it a, hey, watch it. It
was
fun.
a good time. It was absolutely fun.
It was fun.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. But kind of like Kelly said with Top Gun, just so you know what you're getting, because I've seen a lot of critics just destroying Terminal List. And I don't think that's quite fair. I think if you go into it
some of that is like the
something,
politics of it. It's the
I'm sure.
The woke messaging, and it's very not woke and anti-woke, and goes in some of the other. It doesn't check some boxes like some other entertainment does. That I think is more the reason for the love it hate it kind of thing.
But I don't think that. But that's why I think it's unfair. Is that as a critic, if you go in there basing all of your opinion on that. And obviously, this is not that fair. If you're going into it with the idea, I want this political message or social message in there, you're not going to look at Terminal List and figure, oh, this should, scratch my itch.
Yeah.
That's not.
And you know what? I really want like some plot and character development in the next Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
You don't go into it expecting, or Top Gun Maverick, you don't go in there expecting, speed. He's going to be, driving a bus. You don't expect that. You expect a lot of old planes that.
Oh, I expect speed out of Top Gun Maverick. He's
now,
like fast.
Now, conversely, what'd you think of The Old Man?
I'm enjoying it so far. It is a slow burn. You know what I mean? And in some ways, I like that it is less action-y in your face than some of the other ones, are. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of, cutting back and forth, and then we go back in time and see him as a younger man. Like I'm enjoying it so far. I personally wish it was a tiny little bit more action. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems to be few and far between, but when it comes, you're like I was watching it last night with my wife. She's not really watching it. She's like in the room or whatever, and they're at the. He goes to meet that dude who he saved his life years ago and set him free. Yeah. And like the lawyer chick comes up and is talking to the other chick.
Boris the bullet dodger, by the way.
Yeah.
That's who it was.
So he's talking to Boris, and Boris is like, aha, I'm going to turn the tables on you. And he's like, no, you're not. Blam. And he kills the guy and is like going to escape. And then, everyone's like, oh, and they're headed for the exits. And the one guy like comes up and puts his hand on that lady's shoulders, like, ma'am, you're going to have to come with me. And he's just like, blam, blam, come on. I told you to stay by the bar. Like, I laughed out loud at that scene. And I was like, you really do like the gunplay. And I was like, no, I like that he's not messing around. When it's time to shoot people, it's time to shoot people and not talk to them. You know what I mean? And that was the point he was at.
Sticker then, no? It's time to shoot people. It's time to shoot people. Mark put that on a T-shirt.
That's right. I know a guy. We can make that happen.
Yeah, that'll get you a lot of looks, I'm sure. But yeah, you're right. See, I wish the writing and development team with that show had been mixed with the team from Terminal List, so they could have worked it out that way to come up with something really good. But yeah, I like The Old Man. I love what is his name?
Who's the old man? That new old guy.
I've been trying to place him.
That guy.
He's familiar, but I cannot place him.
No, I mean like in the show, who is he? You know what I mean? He's this nefarious guy that okay.
He was their old director.
Like he's I'm not sure if he's the new bad guy or if he's not the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still trying to figure him out.
Bad guy. He's
definitely
a bad guy. That's the feeling I get. And follows my rule. My rule.
So Sean, tell me though, because I'm really curious, because I came across The Old Man yesterday, and I didn't realize that it was on my list of homework assignments. But I read like the blurb about the
Kelly. Read the syllabus. Come on, man.
So anyhow, Mark, I read the short description of the show, And I passed on the show purely because of that description, because it said something to the effect that he, in order to ensure his future, he has to reconcile his past. And I
Yeah,
was just like, if I see another show where somebody has to reconcile their past,
yeah.
I'm going to
Well,
stop watching shit altogether.
whatever you're gonna end that sentence with, yeah, you have to do it. So because you're gonna need to watch that show. So it's got Jeff Bridges, and
Jeff
Jeff
Bridges, John
Bridges.
Lithgow.
Thank you. That's the other name I was trying to think of. John Lithgow and Jeff Bridges in there. And anything that has both of them, I love those actors. They are great. Third Rock from the Sun, Buckaroo Banzai, World According to Garp, all those
Dramatic
things.
tour de force.
Yeah, amazing. And then the Big Lebowski, of course. Well, that's all you need for that. Big Lebowski, and then you could throw True Grit in there and all that other stuff. Jeff Bridges is amazing too, and I love both those actors, and they are wonderful in this show. As actors, they are amazing. And Alia Shawkat, she is great in this.
Is that the woman he ends up kidnapping?
No, that's the girl who's working
daughter?
that's the one who's working at FBI.
Yeah, no, she's good.
She's great, and I loved her. She was maybe on Arrested Development. And
I knew she looked familiar. Yeah, like I didn't place her. She grew up apparently.
She
you know
did.
what I mean?
She grew up.
Yeah, because she was basically a kid in that show. Because I'm looking at, I'm like,
Yeah.
I've seen her somewhere before. And the freckles are very distinctive, but I couldn't place it until just now. So.
And I like her in this show because it shows the extent, or not the extent, but a further extent of her range as an actor. And I thought she did great with this, So there's a lot of good stuff to be had in this, Kelly. There really is. And I love the interplay between the actors in a lot of the scenes. It's not as technically sound as The Terminal List, but that's all right. I can deal with a lot. There's a lot of stuff you'd be like, how did that happen? Yeah. But a lot of these shows seem to go with they know somebody at kind of thing, And I'd love to know
they
how
have secret special training that you and I don't have access to.
I would love to know how that actually, I want to do a skit sometime of how this actually plays out. You're working at the CIA or at the FBI, and you get the phone call, hey, I need you to do this really incredibly illegal and questionable thing. Why am I doing this? Because you know me. Okay. All right. And then going into HR, hey, we need to give someone a job who shouldn't be here. or I need to look up all of the people who own stock in this company or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I would love to see the office interplay between this person that they
that's
know.
why you need a guy in the chair who works at one of those places. So
yeah, but even the guy in the chair isn't going to have access to all that. That's like, I can't just call you and get a boardroom over at, whatever MITRE or wherever, I can't do that sort of thing. You know what I mean?
I would make that happen for you, Sean. I don't even work there anymore, and I would still make that happen.
But
why? Because I know people over there.
That's what I mean. It'd be like calling you and saying, hey, I need a boardroom over there.
That's right.
Tomorrow.
Kenny, I need your room. Don't ask any questions.
You know what I'm saying. I was going to use an example for Kelly with windmills, but it just, there's a certain amount of disbelief you have to suspend when it comes to that. I get it. I get it. But that's why I enjoy the other stuff so much. I enjoy that they put so much effort into the characters. I love the bit with the lady trying to figure out, how do you live this life? How do you get into that? What are your rules for it and all that? That's kind of cool too.
Yeah, she's kind of our everyman who's like thrust into this world of espionage and whatnot. Yeah. And in some ways, she's almost a little too sharp and a little too on, like she is not a babe lost in the woods like we would expect her to be. You know what I mean?
She's not the audience member they used as a test group for Maverick.
Right. She is definitely not one of those two ladies that was sitting in front of us that 6 days, 7 nights. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Like she's figuring it out fast.
She is.
I like her character. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But in some ways, I'm like, you want half his money? What? Like
I know
that's a big ask. I'm like someone's.
Wow.
Yeah, someone's getting a little big for their britches. She's looking around like this dude's loaded.
And by the way, the part I've never seen Helena become so animated. I've often wanted to do like a reaction thing with her or something.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
one, man, I wish I had it on camera. This one, when the scene when the dude's one of the guys who tries to kill him is trying to kill Jeff Bridges, and the
Mhm.
dogs come in, and the
Yeah, where
dude
she lets him
chucks.
in.
Yeah, and the
Yeah,
dude
yeah, yeah,
takes and chucks the Rottweiler through the
yeah, yeah.
window,
Through the
right?
window.
Helena got so upset. She was like, "Oh no!" she was. I was. I was like taken aback. I looked over and I was like, "What?" And she said, "They did not just do that to that dog."
Yeah, this vicious Rottweiler, it's gonna rip your throat out. Oh,
I
how
was.
dare you?
I was proud of her. I was like, "Hey, all right. I didn't
Yeah.
know you had that in you.
But
Good
that's the
for
thing I
you."
like that they went there. You know what I mean? This guy's fighting vicious, 100-pound dogs, or however much
Yeah,
they weigh. They're big dogs, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And yeah, that's what you do. You know what I mean?
They
Like, oh,
remind me. The dogs remind me of Max Kelly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
remember Max?
oh yeah,
Mark?
he took me for a walk one time.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Max. Max is awesome. Yeah. Yeah, they remind me of Max. Very loyal that way and all that. And yeah, so really, really cool that way. But I like the show a lot, like the interplay. I think
Hmm.
I've been enjoying that one a great deal.
Yeah. Do
And
you
I'm
know how many
anxious to see
more
where it
episodes we
goes.
have in the season,
I
or
don't know. I don't
I
know.
don't
I'm
know
anxious
either.
to
Yeah.
see where it goes. Did you guess a lot of the stuff that's come up in it? I don't want to ruin that one for Kelly because that one I think
No,
is,
I haven't, but I'm not trying to. I'm along for the ride.
yeah,
I'm down with this. Oh, we're going after this like retired spy, and I'm digging the fact that he stole this guy's wife, and the stuff that, and they lived a life together, and
yeah.
now we're dealing with the repercussions of all that, and there's a lot of intrigue. And I'm like, okay, I'm just along for the ride. I'm not trying to pick it apart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
And
I'm
that's, you
enjoying
know
it.
what? You know what? I think that in and of itself is a testament to why I enjoy the show is the fact that you are just going along to enjoy it and not trying to pick it apart. And you very well could. And the fact
Right,
that
right.
you don't want to shows how much you're enjoying it. Because I feel the same way. That's what I was talking about. I'm like, all right. The FBI or whatever, they got somebody, I guess, on the inside, or the CIA or whatever, who's helping them do all this crap. Okay, that's fine. Just give me more John Lithgow and Jeff Bridges and stuff talking to each other. That's awesome.
Yeah,
You know. So
yeah.
yeah, I feel the same way. I think I'd be interested to see what you think of that one, Kelly.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right,
sad you
check that
didn't.
out.
I'm sad you clicked off that. Although I understand, because I actually, if it was just the descriptor, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I saw that Jeff Bridges was in it, and that's why I entertained it for a second. But I sat there with that description, and I just thought, I can't sit through another story that presents it like that.
Yeah.
Another, hey, I've got to deal with my past. This dark
Jeff
secret
Sounds like a
from
lot of
the
Bridges.
CIA.
introspection and therapy more
And
than
and
some
I,
gunplay.
and I'm okay
Jeff
with it.
Bridges, I got to give him the benefit of the doubt.
But it's that thing, though. I mean, it's what you said. If what's required is that you have to suspend, um, a lot of reality, and just watch it for the pure entertainment value, because that's always sort of my downfall in anything, is that I start to throw too much reality into it.
Well,
And
this one, the only
There's your mistake.
reality,
yeah,
it's not, don't get me wrong, it's not like, again, it's not like you're watching an 80s sitcom or something. It's not like that. There are bits in there where it comes up, it pops up in my mind. Well, that didn't make sense. That kind of thing.
hmm
But I just quash it. I'm like, meh, all right, whatever.
my daughter got
I'm,
me watching one of these crime shows with her, and I wasn't 2 minutes into the show, and
Blues
I was like,
Clues.
no.
police procedural. Yeah.
But I just said, we're like 5 minutes into the thing, and I'm just already talking about, well, the FBI wouldn't do that. That's not how that works. The
Right,
FBI
right.
doesn't have a private jet, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I
I just
like,
love how many people have their cell phones in, like, the CIC at the counterterrorism center. And I'm like, you're not even bringing your phone in the building. It's
no,
like,
Yeah.
oh, Sean, you need a room? I'm
yeah,
there. I'm just
yeah,
like,
that ain't
okay,
happening.
sure, buddy. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, that's true. That's
Yeah,
very true.
yeah.
But man, whatever. Regardless of all that,
But that's okay. I
I
mean,
do
I'll check it
enjoy
out.
it.
I mean, because you're right. I mean, Jeff Bridges, I give him the benefit of the doubt. John Lithgow, sure.
Yeah,
We'll just see how. I mean,
and
John
they are.
Lithgow in the list of characters, you see John Lithgow in the cast, and I'm trying to figure out how he fits in, because again, John
Well,
Lithgow is
you'll
one of those
see.
people that I see more as a comedic actor in my
Right,
mind.
he
I know he's
doesn't get
done
enough
dramatic.
No,
credit.
don't forget.
He doesn't get enough credit for his serious work. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like he's firing on all cylinders in this show from a dramatic actor, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Absolutely. And don't forget, he was actually the villain in that Stallone movie.
Yeah,
What is that?
yeah. Oh, well,
Cliffhanger?
the mountain
Cliffhanger,
cliffhanger. That's
thank you.
it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cliffhanger. Yes.
And he was
So
what,
good.
John Big Booty in Buckaroo Banzai?
No. He was Dr. Lizardo.
Whatever, man.
Yeah, John Big Booty was what's his face from Back to the Future and Taxi. Doc
Okay.
Brown.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was that guy. Yeah. Then it was Big Booty. Yes. So all right. Well, I'm glad you like that, Mark. I really am.
did.
Kelly,
I
I
did.
hope you catch up on those because I'd really like to see your input on that or hear your input.
Yeah, I got Thor first. I'm gonna pass on the Miss Marvel thing. Listening to your review, I appreciate you
Oh,
guys
no,
saving
you're
me
not.
that amount of time. And
You were
and
gonna jump right in, and you're
plug,
gonna
Yeah,
love
man,
plug
you
every
into
got it.
minute
that
of it.
space will be the old man.
You got to
Okay.
watch that at some point with your daughter, though, because there is going to be a second season or whatever of that. So
Mhm.
you got to do
I have to
that.
see it because there's going to be a second season. That
Yeah.
sounds
Yeah,
That's
just
how it
as great as
works.
the first.
Yeah.
yeah,
No.
yeah. That's what we do. We talk about
Okay.
that stuff. You got to do it. Got to suck it up. Got to see what she says too. So
All right. As soon as
That's
I'm
what
done
we do.
watching every video on YouTube, I'll fit that in.
all right. So, all right. Well,
Kelly's
thank
got
you,
his week
guys.
cut out for him. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll be
Yeah,
busy.
Yeah, it was a busy week with the old man. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And next time we'll be able to talk about Love and Thunder. Yes.
looking
Yes.
forward to it.
All
And I'll
right.
get my light fixed.
And the old man. You got to watch
Yeah,
that
please.
one first, Kelly. You got to watch the old man first because that's still running, and it's got.
No, I need you
episodes
to
coming
go
out.
to the theater and watch Love and Thunder and have the old man on your phone and
Playing at
multitask.
the same time.
Yep.
That's right.
Or for a few dollars more. Got it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you very
All right.
much.
This concludes our Speak Nerd and Enter broadcast.